We'll call the Facilities Committee meeting for the Keystone Central School Board Director of Directors meeting to order, October 28th meeting. And so since we have several, I see Elizabeth's online. So since we have 7 or 8 items here for consideration and discussion today, we'll get right to them. First item on the agenda. We received a letter from the Bald Eagle Township Sewer Authority in the ongoing sewer issue. They are saying that we have this building, the high school, Central Mountain High School, has been putting things in the sewer line, such as rags, rubber gloves, vape containers, mini alcohol bottles, apples, et cetera, items small enough to fit and be flushed down a toilet. And they're saying that this is becoming more and more of a problem for their maintenance people. They have to clear out. They have some kind of system where they have baskets that catch these types of items, and they have to clean them out. And usually, it used to be, once a month or once every other month. Now they're doing it practically, I guess, weekly, according to what this letter said. We received a letter from Stifler McGraw. I guess it's their engineers that they work with out of Hollidaysburg. And I think what they're asking us is they gave us a couple options as to how we might be able to remedy this. And they're saying that it's just coming from this building because in the summertime, there's nothing in the line. So when the kids aren't here. So Sam, I don't know whether you can expand on what these options are that they're saying, and I think we may have a solution.
So when I went to the meeting on the 29th, some of the options they provided were us to have a collection tank here on site. If we did place it, it would be down by the tennis courts below the CTC building. And some kind of basket strainer system similar to what they use, where that maintenance would transfer over to us to have to clean those on a routine basis. And those items wouldn't go into the common sewer system and end up for them to maintain. So I put on here, what we spend each month for sewer at the high school, the CTC, and up at the stadium, because I'm sure it's a combination of all three. It's less than $1,000 or right at $1,000 a month. And, before we go too deep into engineering fees and everything else for us to build some type of system here on site, I had requested a quote from the township to let us know how much it would cost for the additional maintenance that they're saying it is throughout the school year. So the letter says about weekly. Their response to me was about every 10 days during the school year, they're required to clean those baskets. And they can go a month or so any other time of year throughout the summer. But in other areas of the sewer authority's area of responsibility. So that maintenance, rather than be spread to local residents, they believe it should come from us. And I'm just curious of how much, what that cost of the additional maintenance will be. So until we get a number back from the Bald Eagle Township Sewer Authority on what that looks like, then we can discuss whether we move forward with constructing some type of system here on site or just pay the extra maintenance fee. So cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, it's certainly, unless it's some exorbitant amount that they're going to send to us for the extra work that they have to do. Certainly cheaper than putting in a septic system or any of these other things. And just, I would say, like you said, wait for what their response is, and we'll go from that point on. So. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry, I have glare back here. I'll fix that in a minute. Excellent work, Sam and your team. And I will say this, I think you guys have done a great job. You're on the right track. You're totally prepared for this. My question is, to Dr. Redmond especially, not that you can be responsible for every little thing that happens in this district. That's completely unreasonable. But be that as it may, if we're trying to help our students become, really great adults, I don't know, between you and your administration, what sort of daily lessons or monthly lessons or something, maybe tours of the wastewater treatment plant mandated for all the classes. I don't know. You're the expert. But we need to do something to look at problem from up here as long as also down here. So how do you feel about that, Dr. Redmond? Do you any thoughts on that?
For sure, getting to the root cause of why people feel it's okay to use the toilets as a disposal system is important. So I have some curiosities, and Tim and I have spoken a little bit about this, is where are these gloves coming from? Because that's not something that we issue to students, for instance, and some other things. So we're definitely looking at that. The idea of sending students to the sewer treatment plant is intriguing. I used to take students on tours of when I was a teacher way back in the day. So that's an interesting idea, but I agree that if we could find a way to get at that fundamental understanding of how actions impact community and get teenagers to own that a little bit, it would make sense. We're never going to get away from fixing the problem. We're never going to be able to universally address the problem. The 5 years ago, we didn't have to deal with vapes because that wasn't really a thing.
Mhm.
Right.
And so because that landscape has changed, and it's a criminal thing for them to use vapes, they're going to try to get rid of them however they can. So that's something that's a little bit outside of our control.
Yeah, it's very difficult to control that.
But thank you for the idea.
Thank you. Good job.
I think that might be something that the student government might be able
Mhm.
to tackle, as far as trying to get the word out that this isn't cool, man. And you don't do stuff like that. And I know you're never going to get that out to everybody, but it might get through to a few of them if they know that it's creating a problem for the community, not
Mhm.
just here. So I don't know whether it make any difference or not, but maybe they could bring it up at one of their meetings.
Yep.
Okay, anything else on that? We'll just wait and see what happens, what the township's response is on that. Item number 2, this has been kind of an ongoing problem for us. And that's the manpower concerns, especially in Sam's department, for his maintenance guys and custodial staff. It's been an ongoing problem. We've addressed it, I think, at least once within the last year or two, with trying to adjust some wages for these folks. And it is true. I mean, if you look at these, comparative wages from some of the out around surrounding school districts here, as far as our maintenance staff, we are certainly at the bottom. We're the only ones that aren't paying at least $20 an hour. So, again, it's not an easy subject or problem to address, because again, it takes And this is probably at least a little more of probably a finance committee discussion, but I don't know, maybe this is something for, to throw over to you, Joni. I know you're not looking to spend more money.
I
But
don't know if that's a part of the contract.
It is.
Yeah, so that's more, it would have to go to the personnel. committee
right, and you
probably.
obviously need an MOU for it
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, if you're gonna make
Right.
any adjustments.
You're right, it is something that. It's a problem that we just.
Yeah.
And actually, Sam and I were talking about this, that amount, the dollar amount there is actually, did you say the dollar amount?
42,000 is,
Is
Yes.
probably cheaper than hiring one more person.
It is, for
Right.
sure.
If you spread it across, yes.
So the problem comes in, I have 47 people on the support contract under property services. And we lose people constantly because
Right.
of, higher paying jobs. You can go to Walmart or Sheetz or somewhere and make more money than a maintenance professional here at the school. So I pulled everybody in the mid-pen facilities group, and I worked with Justin a little bit from the HR side of the house, and he gave me the numbers for the IU. It's public information for what they're paying for custodians and maintenance personnel. I ran all the numbers, and we are at the bottom. So, my request is that we work an MOU through personnel, through the union, and hope to get a little higher pay so we can attract people to apply here. I've had one maintenance job open since June, and I don't even get any applications for it. We have another one in Renova that we're trying to fill, now, and we haven't had one application for that. So, how are we going to attract people to come work here if we can't offer at least the same amount of money as you can make, working down the street at Walmart or Sheetz? So, I worked with Joni and we ran all the numbers. Everything is on this agenda is as true as we can see it. And yeah, the basic cost to provide more pay to 47 total positions is probably less than what it costs to hire or add one additional position. So it's really not a huge mountain to climb. I know that our budget's not great, but I got to try and do something for my staff to entice people to come here and work. So.
Well, I don't think anybody would disagree with you, that you're just not gonna be able to attract people if you can't pay them what they could make at Walmart or Sheetz or somewhere else. So. Go ahead.
Sorry about the glare. I can't cover that up. Sam, excellent again. Joni, thank you. And yes, I remember this being talked about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and I'm going to state the same thing I'm stating now. I always support boots on the ground. They keep our schools open and running. So be that as it may, Joni, you probably remember this comment. It was said with the other business manager, with the other superintendent. I heard it at least twice, if not 3 times, just in the meetings I was in. And the comment always was, we can't eat benefits. And unfortunately, that conversation doesn't go anywhere due to X, Y, and Z. So now you're saying this is a union contract for these employees? Or-
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this one is the union. Okay, thank you. All right. Again, this isn't really a conversation for here because number one, I support treating all of our, staff equally, if not better. Okay, you got me there. They deserve it. But this is the thing that's not in the report. What benefit and retirement packages do those other groups have? And what I'm saying by that is unless some information changed, we have one of the best, if not the best, health insurance package of any other school district in the state. And it's worth over $20,000 a year. So a question maybe for the board to ask the appropriate people is, would you rather have a higher paycheck and maybe more reasonable benefit package, or do you want both? Of course, that is a private discussion, but what I'm saying is, if those other groups don't have the same level of healthcare annual costs that we do, I think that's very important information to at least bring to the table. So that's where I'm leaving it right now, and I really believe this is a full board discussion and not just personnel, due to that being a potential factor. But thank you, Sam, for bringing it. It is a problem.
What other groups are you talking about? You talking other school districts or what?
Yeah, the same, yes, thank you, thank you. The same districts, everything that he has on that list. So he's already done a good apples to apples. But if those other groups don't offer the same level expense of health benefits, et cetera, that we do, it would be interesting to compare those two. So that might be a discussion item that might also be included in any future discussion.
Well, typically, I think most school districts have very good healthcare benefits. I can't speak for them all, but I think most of them have probably one of the better or best that they can offer. Sure that the teachers associations make sure of that. So, but that is a conversation for maybe the whole board, or at least the finance committee and personnel and whatever. So,
The support group does pay the most for the health insurance of all the
right,
contracts.
out of pocket. You're right. That's a very good point.
They do.
They do pay more out of pocket than the other groups do, than the other bargaining groups.
Yes.
So, good point. All right. That's a conversation we need to continue with later. Number 3, this is on here. It's just listed as Liberty Curtain. And there has been discovered at the school, and I will let Sam, he can address this in detail, but I guess we've been having some underground water seepage that's going into the surface water collection basin up there that was not anticipated. So I know that Sam's been up there with, checking out the situation, and he's been in contact with the other people, Lobar and Crabtree and so on. So I don't know, Dr. Redmond or Sam, who wants to take that one and maybe expand on what exactly is going on with the problem.
So I can, and I'll explain what I know to this date. About 3 weeks ago, Lobar went to seed the drainage basin, and they noticed that the inlet end, which is towards the back of the school and the hillside of Blanchard, that end of the drainage pond was constantly wet. And the way that is designed is, after a heavy rain, it collects just the surface water. And then after 3 to 5 days, it should drain out fully. And after, a week and a half or 2 weeks, it should be dry enough in there where folks could get in there, walk around and plant seed and do what needs to be done. But that wasn't happening. So Lobar brought it to the attention of myself and Crabtree. And so I started paying attention with the rain, and we've got tons of pictures. It appears that the water is coming off of the hillside behind the school, and it is using the stone, the piping for the surface drain. It's using that as like a conduit to get to this area. And it's seeping under and around the pipe for the surface water. So that basin is not designed for subsurface or underground water. It's designed just to collect surface water. So it is an issue. We're not sure to what extent yet. I met last week. We did a Teams meeting with DEP, Crabtree, and it is my mistake. It wasn't More Engineers. It's ELA Engineering Group. And their civil engineer who's been throughout the project here. He's been running that end of it. We met, we discussed, we looked at pictures, we looked at drawings. The next step would be to have Crabtree, DEP, Conservation District, and the engineers on site so they could physically see what is happening and try and get a good take on what the remedy for this may be. And that is all I know at this point, but I wanted to make sure I brought it to everyone's attention that there is an issue and folks, all the right folks are looking at it. And once there is a solution, we'll go from there.
Okay. So I guess at this point, we just have to wait and see what they, how they assess it when they finally get on site and see what,
Yeah, they're trying to pick a date right now. It hasn't been finalized, but they're working on it.
well, we need to get all the players involved. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, this isn't, I'm sorry about the news. Sam, did Rob or anyone bring you up to date on the deed restriction about the water rights for the person adjacent property?
No,
Okay, please look into that. And, if you want to ask me about it later or during a public meeting or however we should do it, I'll be more than happy to fill you in, okay?
okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I don't know that there's much else we can discuss on that one until we see how it plays out from here. So I'm sure we'll be having future discussions on it. Okay, moving on. Couple of, there's a purchase of a Bobcat mower to replace the one that, the existing one that we have for,
The mill
It's like-
concrete.
oh, I'm sorry, wasn't on. I'm skipping ahead. Pardon me. There is one additional addendum, little extra thing that we have to talk about with the Mill Hall concrete work on that sidewalk. That there was one thing that, one additional section on there that we need to address. And Sam can tell us exactly what that is.
Yes, so when I put out the original public bid, something that I omitted or didn't recognize right away was the curbing that's required between the two ADA sections. And there's approximately 15 feet of additional sidewalk required. So five companies submitted a public bid. Only one of those companies showed up to the pre-bid. So once we got the winning bidder, I reached out to them and said, look, there's this extra work that needs to be addressed, but because you weren't here, it may affect the overall cost on your bid. So I had them submit a quote to me for what the additional cost would be and see where that falls amongst the other bids. And it was $3,650 additional for the work, which is still puts them as the winning bidder. And I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of it before we move forward with the work. So that is why I brought it to this meeting as an informational piece. And as long as everybody is good with it, I will still move forward with the project. That it needs to start pretty directly if we're going to get it done before the end of the year. But I did not want to have that information and not make it known to the school board.
Because, yeah, the additional part would have to be approved the additional 3650. But the rest of it has been approved.
Yes, and it falls well within our budget for concrete for the year.
Right, we had, I think, 100,000 budget for that, is that right?
Well, we
I
had
mean,
200 overall. We
but it
spent.
was left.
Yeah, we have 100 left.
From what we had done in the middle school works. Okay. Any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. So yes, Sam, I totally support it. I understand. But my question is it part of the same linear feet or is it the other section, the L?
No, it's what comes around the corner that
That's what I
will
thought. Yeah.
be included with the two ADAs.
Yep.
The one that crosses Kyler and then the
Mhm.
one that heads towards, there's
Yeah.
about 15 extra feet of concrete in there. And then the curb that connects the two. There's a
Yep,
curb.
that's
that-
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm familiar. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Now we can talk about the mower. There was one there's a mower that's 20-some years old, and I think Sam and his guys have been trying to keep it going. And they've had it up to Daughters several times, and it's pretty much shot. I mean, everything, they thought they could maybe keep it going, but it's just shot and it's just throwing good money after bad. So they need this for not only mowing, but also snow removal. And it's one of those that can work on hillsides and so on. So he has this on here for approval for purchase. He got two quotes for it, I guess.
Well, I added a third one. I was waiting for it to come in.
Okay.
So we have 3 quotes, 2 from Bobcat and 1 from Ventrac. And they all use, it's called Sourcewell pricing. And it's, equipment pricing that's special for states and municipalities and whatnot. And the lowest bid is, right here, local. And it falls below the amount of money. We had budgeted 30,000 for new equipment for this year. So we have that. And then in the past 12 months, using Municipid, we have sold, $14,437 worth of excess equipment or older equipment that was no longer used. And then scrap sales from all the metal that's collected around the district, well over 11,000. So we have certainly enough funding available to help support this. And it's a critical piece of equipment that we use in snow removal, at multiple buildings in the wintertime. And then it is our side hill mower that we use around the district. So we also have a second Ventrac that is similar in age. And this machine will be capable of doing what the 2 older ones did individually. So that is the plan, is we get this new one that has, the 8 wheels plus the 3-point hitch plus the forward hydraulics. Whereas the other 2, they kind of split the duties. This machine will be able to do all.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we have the funds for it. We have a need certainly for it, and especially if it can replace 2 of them
Yes.
and do the job of 2. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. So I would say we should move ahead, especially if we can get it locally. Support the local people. So any comments on that one, Elizabeth?
Thank you. Yeah, again, thanks, Sam. Good information. Good job with the team. Getting multiple bids. Yeah, if we can keep it local, that's the golden ideal. we're back to the same discussion, Rob. I'm just sharing this so you have a little history. This kind of conversation came up a few years back for a similar piece that we needed. It's all good. And the question was, is it going to be gasoline, electric, or diesel? And back then, this is just history. The former facilities supervisor mentioned that they're trying to get away from diesel to go to gas. So, be that as it may, is it diesel or is it gas?
What was the purpose of getting away from diesel?
They wanted to get rid of the tank eventually, but that was a conversation that was held maybe 4 years ago. So that's all I heard.
Yeah, most of our equipment is all diesel.
Okay.
So this
All right.
new piece of equipment, the idea was to get diesel so that it was common.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Fair enough.
The gasoline will, we could get a gas version of the same piece of equipment, but then we would have to use, gas cans and things to take it wherever we had to. But, to me, I didn't know there was a question that came up before about getting rid of one or the other,
Yeah.
but I would say 75% of our equipment is all diesel.
Yeah. And that's when this conversation basically got started because the cost of diesel started going up and up and up. And then they compared, we never got the numbers because it wasn't necessary at that time, but comparing if they went from gas to diesel, how much we would save. That conversation never went anywhere. So I just wanted to give you a little back history. I don't know where diesel's going. I don't know what the diesel price is. That's not a board issue. But I just wanted to give you a little history. And then next year, when we talk about the 10-year facility plan, let's kind of keep in the back of our mind, I know Rob really wanted this. I think Sam, you're very interested, whether or not we'll ever be able to get these pieces of equipment under roof and stop rusting. So that's always an issue. Okay.
That is a
So
big
yes,
ticket
I
bring
support this.
item.
I fully understand. Okay. But if you want to think about the gas versus diesel before you go ahead and see if it might save, if it's worth it to start transitioning at some point,
Yeah,
maybe now's the time. I don't know. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so I don't think we have any objection to moving ahead with that and recommending that purchase. Moving on, Rob Elementary, we talked about this, I believe, at the last meeting, the chairlift that's in the main entrance of the elementary school. It's been there since, I think, 1994. They've worked on it numerous times trying to keep it running. And again, it's like the mower. You start throwing good money after bad. It is not operable at the moment. And the quote for replacing it is a nearly, 66,000 and change. I don't know that we have the funding for this right now. I know that it's an ADA issue, certainly. But we do have alternatives, I think, for that building.
Yes, so we have, there's alternate access on the backside of the building with a ramp that can get you to the first two levels, and then you can use the elevator to go where you need to go from there. This only, prevents people from entering the front, what is it, Church Street, entering that side of the building and having a way to get up that flight of steps. So they would have to go around the backside to get in a wheelchair. I solicited 2 or 3 other companies. I solicited the Mid-Penn Facilities Group for PASBO folks. And I just haven't gotten any more quotes. But I know this was on here last month, and I felt like because it's an ADA compliant item, we should keep it on here until we agree to make the purchase. I think that in our financial state right now, this may be one that we can hold on to for a little bit since we have alternate means, but that will be, ultimately the board's decision.
Well, I think, I think it is something, especially given the budget situation uh, at the state level and where we are right now, with funds being so tight for not only us, but everybody across the state. I think this is something that certainly, if we had the funds, we'd probably do it right away. But I think that since we do have, there is handicapped access to the building, might not be as convenient as coming in the main entrance, but there is access. So I think it's something that we should probably table for a while, at least till we see what happens with the cash flow and so on, and what our overall budget picture looks like here over the next few months, between now and the end of the year. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Last time this was brought up, I had mentioned some grant opportunities that might be out there for ADA. Sam, board members don't give employees directives. But, you know, between your team, Dr. Redmond, and bare minimum, can we reach out to our state representatives? They have access to funding for ADA issues, and maybe, just maybe, if they won't do a stair lift, maybe they'll do an elevator. I don't know, but it's not, again, I'll bring it up again, and me personally, I think this is a priority. I would get this before I would get a mower any day. But that's just my opinion. But again, that other step hasn't taken place yet. Because ADA is one of the things like safety. It's usually one of the things that there's usually some funding somewhere. So if anyone could possibly decide to look into that, that would be huge. And then keep us updated. And also, if you're only getting one bid, it just doesn't seem possible unless this type of ADA equipment is so outdated that no one's even bothering selling it anymore. So I don't know. It just seems odd. Is there any other alternative between these two? We have the elevator, we have the chairlift. Is there anything else out there that anybody else uses that I'm not aware of anything, but is there anything besides those two choices?
Yes, there is other options, but the modifications that would have to take place in the front entry of that building are gonna far exceed the price of putting a new chairlift in. I mean, if you put a elevator entrance from the outside of the building, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to renovate that's piece of the building. They have chairlifts that go straight up and then you would, ramp in from there. Again, you're talking building modifications. So these chairlifts and the way this is designed and set up in that, age of a building is it needs to, and it's not even a straight shot. It's you would load onto the chairlift off to the side and then it has to come out and around the corner and up the stairs. So that is where a lot of the cost is involved is, that kind of equipment is not as common as it used to be.
That's right, yeah. Mhm.
And so there's only a few companies around. And honestly, when I asked all the other school districts, they recommended this company that we already have a quote from and one other company that I've reached out to and haven't received the quote yet.
Okay, good. All right. But if like I said, if when you have the word ADA and you go to your state representative, let's hope there's possibly something out there and how flexible they can be. Do you think that's something the team could do?
Yeah, I'm sure we could do something.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, well, we'll put that on hold for the time being anyway, until we see. I don't know that it isn't grant money out there, but I don't think that's at the top of the legislators list right now. All right, next item, the gas and electric provider contract renewal. This renews or the contract with UGI, which is who we're with at the present time, renews at the end of the year at the end of December. So I know Sam has been looking at some alternative companies and I think UGI just kind of assumed that they're going to continue with us, but I think Sam's been doing some homework on this and some research, and it's kind of gotten UGI's attention, I believe. So maybe like you shop other stuff around. So what did you find?
So, the school district's been with UGI for probably 25 plus years. And I don't know if anyone's ever shopped anywhere before, but, it's kind of, I got involved in this quite a bit at my last job. And, so I reached out to a couple of different energy consulting companies who do the same thing that UGI Services does. And basically you can't change, you're not going to get a better deal on delivery fee, but you can get a better deal on cost per kilowatt hour or cost per decatherm of gas. So I have, 3 different groups, UGI plus 2 consulting groups that are competing against each other. The numbers I got in this morning from our 3rd consulting group may not be worth the competition, but the 2 that I put on here are certainly neck and neck. And we have caught UGI's attention, and they will be required to sharpen their pencil to continue our business here.
Okay, well, we still have a couple months before we have to
So
decide where we want to go.
the history of this is that the school board had always given, because this is like an investment. The numbers fluctuate daily.
All right. I know.
So the way it was done in the past is talking to Joni, that the school board gave, the business manager the authority to pull the trigger when the price was right. So that
It's
that
good
is,
for one day. The
yeah,
price is good for one
Mhm.
day once they get the quotes.
I remember when I
Right,
was
you
at
remember,
Canton, and we
right.
did the same thing.
You did. For
He
2
would
years
shop, and
ago.
when he hit the right day,
Yes,
he locked in.
yes. So just so we wanted to make you
Yeah.
aware, complete transparency, this is what we're doing. We're looking around, we're absolutely shopping around, but when the day comes, we know to be able to say, yes,
the
we
trigger.
want that.
Absolutely. Yeah, get the best deal you can.
so that would, we just need the school board to give us authority to pull that trigger when it happens.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Thanks. Great. This is wonderful news. This is wonderful news. The district has a lot of buying power, and it's good to see it put into motion. A quick question. Whenever you bring this back up to us or present to the full board, could you please let us know in another spreadsheet or next to it what we're paying now versus the bids, or I shouldn't say the bids, the current prices? Okay?
Yeah, we can do that. I included the old contract.
Yeah.
And then everything that we're looking at right now, but we'll clean it up to make it, instead of 10 different things, we'll look at one.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave all 10, because that way, me personally, I like deal for 10 for the committee, for the committee. But you're absolutely right. I agree. When you send it out to the big world, yeah, time to distill. But seeing the current prices, it's going to be very beneficial for everybody. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that is very good news. We'll see if we can save a few dollars there. Okay, last item on the list is the Mill Hall HVAC repairs. We have talked about this on a couple of different occasions, and we had decided we were going to kind of work on them and fix them as we go. And I think Sam has found that we can repair these for fairly reasonable amount. So I'll let you give us the details on that.
Yeah, so back in August is when I first brought this up as one of my top concerns for the school year here. We were concerned that we might have to replace these four because of their age. And then once we started digging into it, we found that we can get these parts and components fairly easily still. And it's at a decent price. For less than 16,000, we can fix all four units. That's labor and material, and they will be fixed up here in the next month or two, and be ready for the springtime when temperatures start getting warmer again. So right now we do have heat functional, but once the temperatures are warmer, we'll need this for, cooling.
Okay. Again, that's very good news. If we can get these all, we can get the parts and we get them repaired for a relatively small amount of money. I mean, I think that's great. If anybody has any problem with that, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I'm going to close this screen real quick so I can look at the attachment. Thank you. I'm just curious, just to help me learn something here. What does this mean? I'm sorry. I'm opening up KCSD Mill Hall ESRTU 3A repairs AA 1020205-2. And the bottom of the first page, what does this mean? I've never seen this before. Labor to be charged against the 192-hour agreement.
Yeah, so we have a labor contract with BSC Mechanical that was signed.
Right before you.
Yeah, it was before my time with Rob.
Oh, okay.
And we did not use all the money, so it carried over.
we didn't
Wow.
use
Yeah, we didn't use all the hours. So we've been using BSC Mechanical to help troubleshoot and things like that for us. And all of their labor costs comes out of that agreement. And we're paying for materials separately.
Sure, sure. This is great. I've never heard of this. So they gave you, or Keystone, they gave Keystone the option to lock in a price that was probably set 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Yes, it was spring of 24.
And we bid that out. I do remember there was
Yeah,
at
it
least McClure and someone else that bid
Yes.
on that. And this company came in lowest. And
That's great.
They're right down the street, but you're absolutely right. And for them to also let us roll it over to a certain amount of time is great.
If this is something that you want to keep doing for anything else, you got my
I would love
support.
to do this. If I can do this for more things, I would love to.
Well, we do have a lot of buying power, remember? So
Mhm.
do your magic. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I think, again, this is kind of one that we don't really need to consider too much. We would certainly recommend we go ahead and do this, especially at that cost, especially if we don't have to replace those things.
Mhm.
That's the best part, So for less than $16,000, we can do all four of them. That's wonderful, so. All right, I have nothing else on the agenda at this point, unless anybody else has anything further. All right, what do we
Thanks.
have?
This is just Sam. I know this is so frustrating, but it seems like your team keeps fixing it. I didn't want to bother you, but yeah, those lights, those spotlights on the north side of the Mill Hall Middle School, they're on 24/7.
Okay.
And then someone fixed it, and then now they're on dusk dawn. So whoever noticed it, it's been a couple months. And I don't know if you want me to email you when this starts happening again. It just, or do you want me to just keep my
Absolutely,
mouth shut? I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Well, Eddie, you spend a lot of time walking around, the Mill Hall area here. So anytime you notice anything that's out of the ordinary, by all means, send me an email.
Okay,
So we know.
all right. Okay, I didn't want to bother you, but okay.
Yeah, if
Done.
they're on 24/7, that
Oh, yeah.
means that sensor has gone bad again. A lot of times they'll get insects in there or bees or something and it affects it. So, yeah.
I can't
I'll
wait
make
for they're
sure-
gone to be honest with you. It's just they never seemed, it's like they're possessed.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, anything else? If not, we will adjourn the meeting at 2:20. Thank you.